Extremely excited to have you guys here. My name is Leon Baptist. I am here with my amazing co-host. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, my name is Hank, and I'm doing good. I guess Lily, I guess I'll say it this way. I deal as best I can with situations that I'm confronted with each and every day.
Okay, sounds good. I like that.
Some days I do good, and some days I don't do as well. However, my 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 goal every day is to be better today than I was yesterday.
Okay,
And it's not perfection, it's just being a better person.
okay, I respect that. I respect that. And that kind of goes into what we're talking about today. So here's the deal. This is meant to be a direct conversation. If you guys are able, if you want to chime in, you are more than welcome. But
Mhm.
for the next, 10, 15 minutes, we are going to literally lay out what is going on in the economy. And then we're going to lay out, you know, now that we know what's going on, now what do you do? Right.
Hmm,
So
okay.
here's what we're going to start off with. Unless you're hiding under a rock, you are aware that for some people, the economy is quote unquote gloom and doom. People are afraid or they don't believe in the outlook. We have election season upon us, as we
Whew,
always do
whew.
year. Um, and so people have a negative outlook. Now, here's the thing, as you guys may have noticed by now, the more negative an outlook, the more fingers you can point at a particular onset of people, the more you can. I'll put it this way: there's a famous book written by a marketer that says if you want people to follow you, one of the things that you must do is you must find a common enemy and throw rocks at the common enemy. All right. So,
Wow, I'm sorry.
so regardless of whoever is in office, whenever someone's in office, and who's this and that, you will always have the opposition create a common enemy to throw rocks at. Okay, and then you're gonna have news anchors get on the tell vision to tell you a vision and throw rocks at a particular quote unquote common enemy. All
Oh,
right.
wow.
Now, now that's in plain day. I didn't make up any of those words. I didn't even write that book. That is a playbook that politicians use. But here's the deal: we have an economy, right? And Hank, can you just slowly in the next, or quickly, excuse me, in the next couple of minutes, explain to everyone some of the quote unquote doom and gloom that is out in our economy, global and domestic, right now?
Well, for me, there are some big ones, and then there are some that are not so big that become big because people don't act. A couple years ago, the pandemic hit,
Hmm.
and countries were slow to react, and or the pandemic was spreading so fast that the world literally shut down. Manufacturing shut down, food harvesting shut down, manufacturing of cars, things shut down. People lost jobs. And here in the US, the federal government tried to do some stuff by giving stimulus checks. And there were some people who were excited about them. And then there were some saying, hey, you know what? You shouldn't give them anything. They need to work for it. But remember, I said nobody was working. So with that came a logistics issue getting products from point A to point B via ship. But when you would get to a port because of COVID, people weren't working. There weren't enough people to unload the ship. So they would unload the ship, put stuff on a truck, but the truck couldn't move because of COVID. There weren't enough drivers to drive the trucks. So there was this tailspin that was happening from a logistics, from a supply demand perspective. Then we start to be hit with inflation because people had more money, but they had money faster than the supply chain was catching up to goods and services, making hats and shoes and canned goods and things of that sort. And as we were dealing with that, then the war in Europe happened between Russia and Ukraine. And people start to choose sides because sanctions were being placed on people, and other countries were trying to decide, do they lean towards the US or they lean towards Russia, and everybody's trying to do that. In the meantime, you and I are being impacted by all of the stuff that's happening and the decisions that are being made. But if you haven't been watching stuff, then and you plugged into a particular station, then what you're hearing is that the federal government is flat on its butt. And you're in the situation because the federal government did this or the federal government did that. Okay. Which is, it may be partially true, but it's not totally true. And if you, as Leland, as you said initially, if you plug into the wrong station, then you start to throw rocks at at somebody else unnecessarily.
Hmm.
Okay.
So
So as we're getting ready to do some stuff, OPEC last week, a week before last, decided that it would reduce the amount of oil it was producing, which is now shooting up the price of oil around the world. However, the oil producers and refineries in the United States are making money hand over fist, and I will say at our expense, and there's nothing we can do about it. Did that help?
hmm. Yeah, that helps. So here's a question that I have. Now what?
That's right. Now what?
Now what? When I was in school, there was a game that we played. It was so what now what?
Hmm.
And that's the question that I have for everyone else. So what? Now what? So something's not going your way. So what? And now what are you going to do about it?
Leland, I'm sitting here. A lot of people just waiting for somebody to tell them what to do.
Let
I
me
was read.
let me
Go
be
ahead.
clear real quick, just for everyone that is wondering. Um, if you haven't figured it out, I don't care who you vote for, what you're registered. Um, I don't care. Uh, yeah, that politician or this politician or the next politician, they're not going to save you. Isn't that crazy? It's like crazy, right? Like
But they're
because
going to tell you that they can.
it's crazy, right? It's like a novel idea because I know that I don't know, maybe the politician before that one, or the one before that one, or the one before that one, or the one a decade before that one. Dang, when I think about it, they didn't save you either. So there's a pattern here of people thinking, believing that a politician will save them. In actuality, that does not happen.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if we know that that has not happened for the past, let's say, 30, okay, 30 seats, 30 politicians, 30 leaders, what is it about this moment in time that you think is different?
It's too much rock throwing going on from my perspective.
Absolutely.
I think people, and I'll say the government, they have enough smart people working. They have enough folk that they're interacting with on a daily basis that there is a solution. There are answers to all of these problems. But I think the situation exists that no matter what you come up with, somebody's going to poo-poo your idea and throw rocks at you. And then what happens is you become timid in making decisions. Or because people are so galvanized, um, even good ideas that you're participating and benefiting from, okay, you will find yourself making derogatory comments about it. Too much stimulus, not enough stimulus. They shouldn't get stimulus, but they should give more stimulus to us. Okay, I hope I'm making sense to people. And the fact is that for those who are in a position where they can afford to do certain things, I want you to look around you. You have a grocery store here and there, you've got a gas station here and there, supermarkets, restaurants, nice paved roads, nice schools. And you say you've earned it because you've moved into a better neighborhood. But what about the people that live in your city or in your state that don't have those conveniences? They are not close to. Um, Living on my part of town, there are townships that are allowed to put a referendum on the ballot to tax the residents in that area to raise money to build a new school or a new track or yada 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 yada. But in the inner city of Indianapolis, the public schools, that school system, that school board does not have the ability to pass a referendum. So as a result of that, the schools in the inner city are deplorable. Okay. So I say that to say, if you believe that everyone deserves to have a quality education, then the answer, I mean, the if that's your thought, then how do we the people accomplish that? Because the Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. So are you going to step up and say, okay, I have enough. I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit to help other people. And I think for me, have an altruistic perspective, I think that we have a responsibility to do that if we are following the teachings of our religion or religious background. That somewhere we've been taught that we should help our neighbors. The Bible talks about something about your neighbor as yourself. So I guess the question is, how do you do that? I mean, how do we do that? Because it's not a one person job. It's not the president of the United States job. It's not the leaders in Congress, but it's their responsibility to work together to benefit we the people. And as you say, Leland, I haven't seen it happen in the last 30 years.
I mean, I don't know about other people, but I'm gonna just say this as we begin to wrap up. Um, so what? Like, I am. My viewpoint is a little bit different. So I know, So just I'm gonna give you guys a little bit more background on what I thought the world was like growing up. Growing up, I thought the world was a place that when there was quote unquote injustice or quote unquote inequity or inequality, that it was your job as an individual to do your best to fix that inequality. So much so that when I went to college, as many of you guys know, I worked for a congressman. I actually used to speak on the Capitol in Raleigh. We would lead marches throughout my local college area. I was actually the president for the NAACP for the entire state of North Carolina, for all the collegiate regions. I charted a few chapters throughout the state, and I began to realize that in the grand scheme, um, you can't. None of that actually solves the problem.
Hmm.
The reason that it doesn't solve the problem is because at the end of the day, we live in a capitalist society. And as a capitalist society, the primary focus and goal is capital in a capitalist society. And you don't have to have a special degree and the economy to know that it's a capitalist society. So therefore, um, the only way to help is by providing. The only way to provide is by obtaining skills. The only way to obtain skills is to try. That's really what it boils down to. That is it. In a capitalist society, if I was in if we lived in more of a, I don't know, in a different system, we could more or less, band together. So, like the United States, I'm not gonna get in a whole rant on there, but the United States is a republic. It is not a democrat. It is not a democracy.
Democracy. Hmm.
It's a republic. Okay.
Hmm.
So if you don't know what a republic is, as I want to go ahead and let you know, like, just stop watching TV. Okay. So the United States is a republic. It is not a democracy. So let's go ahead and throw that lie out of the system. Um, Even if the government were to provide everyone with another stimulus, whatever, of however much, um, the spending or the lack of generating for that stimulus, you would see it kind of happen the same way. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and dismiss all of those things and say this: Mahatma Gandhi, not Leland Baptist, but Mahatma Gandhi says the following. You guys can find the quote yourself. Okay, but Mahatma Gandhi says poverty is the worst form of violence. Poverty is the worst form
Wow.
of violence. And I'm going to take it a step further. Mahatma Gandhi says poverty is the worst form of violence. Leland Baptist says inactivity is the worst form of self violence, of self hatred. Because if you know that you are in a home, for example, and there's a flood coming, as a matter of fact, again, you have a home and you've been told for years that there was a flood coming. When the flood finally hits your doorsteps and you choose to do nothing, it's not that there's anything wrong with the flood. Floods happen, it's part of nature.
Hmm.
Floods happen, ebbs and flows in life happen, good things happen, bad things happen. And when you chose to not do anything, that was a form of violence against yourself because you didn't feel that you were deserving enough to do something different. And so you took no action. If you go to a doctor and a doctor says, Mr. and Mrs. Billy Bob, um, you have been so inactive and not doing anything that your body is starting to deteriorate. If only you could walk for 5 minutes a day, I believe that we could save your life. You know,
Hmm.
but if you, Mr. Billy Bob, don't care enough to move and do anything, does it have anything to do with the doctor? No. Does it have anything at that junction in time? Does it truly have anything to deal with the food you're eating? Not really. I mean, it's too late at that point.
Hmm.
The only thing you can control, Mr. Billy Bob, is you getting off of your tail and taking action. That's it. And I'm gonna paint the picture for some of us who are a little slow. Where we are right now in the economy, in politics, and all the other bull crap, these are all symptoms of something. Okay, it is the equivalent of Mr. Billy Bob, who was overweight and who has not exercised in 20 years. It is equivalent of him complaining about the food that is available to him. Is the food that he's eating probably poor? Absolutely. Does he deserve access to better food? Yeah, absolutely. Um, but one thing that he can do right now is he can move and exercise, even if it is based on the prescription from the doctor to walk. And all I'm telling people to do is do what is in your ability to do. Complaining about the symptoms or the leaves on the trees does not matter. Yes, it is true. A politician or politicians have done this or that. Yes, that is true. But since you can't control that as of today, like you can't flip a switch and reverse that as of today, then I need you to, like Mr. Billy Bob, to get off your tail and get moving in a direction that is going to build momentum. That is it. If you're not able to get off your butt, if you're not able, if you don't love yourself enough to exercise, then so be it. If you don't love yourself enough to take action, then so be it. If you don't love yourself to invest in at least speaking affirmations over yourself to get in the right mindset, so be it. Then there is no reason to complain because you have told me based on your actions that you don't value yourself enough to make a difference. So why even complain about it? Your inaction has agreed with your circumstance. So if you don't care enough to change, then don't.
Yep.
And enjoy the ride. Have fun. Matter of fact, if you want to be that reckless, metaphorically, take the seatbelt off. Go for it. Because that's a form of violence against yourself. Now, I'm here, Hank's here, and I'm going to tell you guys this very quickly. The economy is not good for the average person. The economy as a whole is not good. Your politicians as a whole, they ain't doing nothing, and it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just call it what it is. All right. I don't care who has the House, the Senate, Congress, whatever. They're not doing enough. Okay, cool. So we got those check marks out of the way. So they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. Gas prices are going up. Utilities are going up. True. All those things are true. So now I'm telling you, hey, there's a flood coming. And if you choose to lock yourself in your house while there's a flood,
Poof.
then you just confirmed, based on your inactivity to move, that you don't care enough about yourself, let alone those around you, to move, to do something different. If you know without a shadow of a doubt that you have been working the same opportunity or job for the past 20 years, and it got you to where you are now, where a flood is about to take you out, that might be an indicator that you should or could be doing something different. And if you miss the entire sign, I got nothing for you. Get ready to swim.
But I can't swim.
I hope your name is Michael Phelps, because at least what you could do is, if you don't want to move, at least you can do is teach yourself how to swim. You might last an extra 5 minutes compared to somebody else.
Or if you find yourself on the water, just stand up. You might have your head above water if you just stand up.
Maybe.
It
might be a flash flood. I don't know. But all jokes aside, is the economy looking as favorable as as others may have wanted? No, it is not. And so my question is, so what? Now what? So yeah, it's not looking favorable. So what are you going to do? Well, last thing, real quick, and we're going to get out of here, is we're going to share with you guys. This is not something that I've made up. All right. This is from a book called Cash Flow Quadrant. As you guys know, a quadrant has four sections. There's an ESBI. These are acronyms. So you have employee, self-employed, business owner, and investors. What's pretty interesting to me is that many people immediately think of business owner. And they forget that when people enter in the quadrant, that they start actually where there's an E. Under a particular political administration, based on health insurance, most employees were transferred to the S quadrant and became self-employed. In other words, they got 1099s and became contractors through the state or different for-profit companies. Okay, so just think about that. So you were already a little nudge or a hint was already given. I don't know, 10 years ago. So that you might get that when you get home. So most of you guys are already in the S quadrant. If you're working as a contractor, guess what you are? You are self-employed. If
Mhm.
you are working on commission basis, guess what you are? You are self-employed. So you've already been so someone or something has already been pushing you through the cash flow quadrant anyway. So
Blindly.
blindly. So what does that mean? That means that you got to learn how. That means that right now you may be trading time for money, and if you want to do the opposite, what should you do? Trade money for time. When you choose to do something different, think about owning a system, following a system. First off, in order to own a system, you have to first buy a system. In order to buy
Mhm.
a system, you have to recognize that there's a system out there to be bought. And then when you get a system, you got to be willing to work the system. And after you work the system, you can then outsource people to work the system for you.
Mhm.
I,
Wow.
I, I mentioned affirmations, something you can do for free. You could read for free. We have an app that actually gives you guys affirmations. It gives you the ability to set up your LLC. It gives you the ability to create a business bank account. It gives you the ability to actually start with where you are financially to have or to plug into a system so that you can learn the system, do the system, have the system, and then outsource the system to other people to
Amen.
basically make you into from that sole proprietor or from the S quadrant to a business owner to get you to the point to where you can buy other assets to have your money work for you and be in the I quadrant. That comes literally from an app. Guess how much, Hank? How much does the app cost, Hank? I just want to know. How much is the app?
Many of them zero.
$0.
Some you may have to pay a dollar or two, but zero. The one you're talking about, nothing. Okay, because some people may not understand zero, nothing, but they understand nothing.
Zero. So it costs you nothing.
Nothing.
It
Yeah.
costs you nothing. So when we have a step-by-step process on creating your entity, that takes you from the E quadrant to the S quadrant. If we give you the opportunity to join the apprenticeship program where we actually have you plug into a system, that
Mhm.
takes you from the S quadrant to the B quadrant.
Leland, may I interject for a second?
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here because there are people who are listening to us are constantly playing the blame game, but they've been participating in inactivity all their life.
And
And
activity.
I learned some time ago from some very successful people down in Florida to say you gotta wanna. And then the wife says, "Well, don't tell me what you wanna do. Tell me what you gonna do." Because what I'm hearing you say, Leland, is there are opportunities abound. Choose one,
Choose
pull
one.
the trigger. Choose one.
Choose one.
Because you will learn from mistakes, and because you may have made some mistakes, you will learn, and failure presents opportunity if you keep your eyes open and on the prize.
On the prize. How quickly can you move from E to I? And in some cases, how quickly can you move from E to I multiple times? Maybe that's what you
Well,
want to do.
I'm sorry because I get all excited. I know a lady who downloaded an app like last Tuesday or Wednesday, and by yesterday, working two jobs, as of yesterday, had basically put three or four properties under contract. And if I remember correctly, how much money did she have to put down on those three or four deals? Zero. And I know they're going to say, "Well, what do you mean? How you do that?" get the app. Download the app.
Download the app.
You know. Well, I don't want to do that. Then stay poor. Stop
Yeah.
complaining.
Get ready
You
to
know.
tread water.
Well, I can't. You know, those people in D.C. block this, that, and the other. Well, did you vote? Well, no, I didn't vote. Well, if you didn't vote, you voted.
Yeah,
If you didn't, yep,
that's what I'm saying. If you didn't vote, you voted. Your
So-
inactivity is still confirmation of your activity. If you
Leland said at the beginning, belief. If you don't believe yourself, if you don't think you're worthy,
Well,
do you think I'm going to think that you're worthy?
Oh, but hold on. Let me say this again. Just so people know. Just so people know. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Who gave? I'm talking to the audience. And matter of fact, you know whether this is for you or not. Who gave you the audacity to believe that someone else needs to instill in you the purpose for yourself?
Wow.
Who gave you the audacity to believe that it is someone else's purpose to instill your purpose inside of you? If you honestly think, and just, I don't care what you believe in God, whatever, but I believe in God. So you want me to believe that the maker of everything made one person, one human being on the earth, someone who is flesh and blood, just like you, to walk around, and their entire purpose on life is to instill a purpose in you, for you? No, your purpose is your entire existence is to establish, as in find, know, hone, develop your purpose so that you're able to serve other people. But you think that people should willingly come and serve you. That's the issue. When you're not looking to be active, you're basically showing that you are selfish.
Wow.
And what you're basically saying is, I don't value myself enough to actually take the action. So I need someone else to value me more than I value myself, and have them take the action so that I can reap the benefits of them taking the action.
Wow.
So in other words, the Bible will say, matter of fact, the Bible says, you try to reap where you have not sown. You haven't sown in yourself to have self-discipline, but you want someone else's self-discipline. You haven't sown in yourself to even build up your mental courage or gumption, so you want someone else's. You haven't sown to actually create a system of your own, but you want someone else's.
Yeah. Jealousy and envy. You got to get off the pot, y'all.
So I'm going to leave it there. As some say, hey, Sarah, Sarah, Sarah.
My Lord.
And you need to figure out, what is it exactly, or why is it that I choose, or that I don't want to invest in myself? Do I not believe that I am valuable? And if that's true, you need to figure out what or who told you that you're not valuable.
And if you want to get ahead, decide, create a plan, a strategy. And if you don't know how to do that, ask somebody who's doing better than you are.
That's it.
And hopefully together you'll create a plan that will get you from where you are to where you want to be. But if you don't plan to do it, trust me, that flood's going to wipe your butt out.
Every time. Real quick, in the very end, for those of you who want the app, you go to Asset Builders Club, assetbuilders.club. Assetbuilders.club. You go there.
The banner.
It's right there in the banner. builders.club. You go there, you sign in. I'm gonna show them real quick what to expect, and then it is solely up to you guys for you to do it. I'm gonna share with you guys how to actually get some of those affirmations, and we have more uh, that are going to be available. But here's what you do: when you go there, you create a free account. Create a free account. You're going to log in. After you log in, do this again. After you log in, there is an area that will be on the bottom called Learn. You click on Learn, and there's a little area right here that says Affirmations. There are affirmations on your mindset, focus, visualization, motivation. There's also a few ebooks that we would suggest you guys read to really get your mind in the right process. This is to ensure, to invest, to deposit into your mental state that
Yes.
you are worthy and deserving of the action that is necessary for you to take. If you don't believe that you are worthy of success, you will purposely find reasons and excuses for you not to take the action for the success. In other words, in order to be the thing, you must believe that you are already the thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Bible verse that says, whatever you believe, you must
Thinketh
believe that you have already received.
what he
Whatever you
thinketh.
come on, a man is what he thinketh in his heart, not in his
Absolutely.
head. In other words, the heart is belief. So you can say to me all the things from your mind that sound good, but if you don't believe it within your true self, within your heart, you will not take the action, and it will manifest based on the fruits of your labor, aka the fruits of your action, aka the results of your actions. Period. So if you don't believe it, guess what? That's what you get.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be so
As a matter of
demonstrative.
fact, whatever you believe,
That's it.
you will
It's on
receive.
you. It's on you.
Whatever you believe, you will receive. So if you
That's
don't
right.
believe, if you don't believe you can
It's
do it,
on
guess
you.
what? You're gonna get that. You can't. You gonna get.
Leland, some years ago, and then I'm gonna hush. Some years ago, I had retired from the military and become worked in corporate America, and I was putting in 12, 14-hour days. And my coach, my mentor, asked me a question. And he said, "Hank," and I said, "Yeah, Bob." He said, "Have you ever thought about what you're doing is costing your family?"
Mm.
And I said, "Well, no, not really. I'm just trying to do this." He said, "No, don't miss what I ask you. What is the price that your family is having to pay for you doing what you're doing?" And I asked that to the audience. If you really like what you're doing, if you think that you have reached the pinnacle of success, there's absolutely nothing that we've said today will make a difference in your life. But perchance, if there are some little faces somewhere around, they are comparing you, daddy, or you, mama, to somebody else's mama or daddy. And some of them will be bold, "Daddy, why can't you be like Mr. Leland? Mr. Leland comes to my basketball game, my football game. They take me to this. Why can't we go to the movies? I'm too busy." Okay. As you get older, they're gonna be too busy for you when you're in a nursing home. Fix it now.
Fix it now. Fix it while you can. Fix it now.
Fix it
Fix it
now.
now. Fix it now. Ladies, gentlemen,
It's on you.
There's a flood coming.
Now what? Yeah. Now what?
There's a flood coming.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was told that the average person won't be able to uh, outrun the flood. I was told that Michael Phelps can't swim well enough to get out of the flood by himself. That's what I was told. So
Mm-hmm.
unless you are, a phenom that we have not seen yet in the Olympics, you probably can't outswim this either. So you need to figure out what can you do to move yourself swiftly through these quadrants. And I believe that you can do this. And probably, I mean, if someone's serious, you probably do this. You could probably do this in 90 days. I think so. Um, you could be someone that. I'm not going to say that yet. I'll let you guys find that out. So, with that being said, thank you all, and we'll talk to you soon.